Hi, I'm Matt, and this is Procrastination Garage. It's Tuesday morning, just after 7 a.m., and man, look at all those weeds. I mean, it's grass mostly, but that area there should not look like that. But you know what? That is the least of our problems. Let me show you. Here we are at the kitchen sink. Now, disregard how dirty and filthy it is. Here's what the problem is. Flip the lever, there is no water. We have absolutely no water this morning. That is not good. Since we live in a rural area, it doesn't surprise you that we are on a private well, which means any water problems are wholly on us. Now, here's where things get complicated. This building here is our well pump house. But in addition to it being a pump house, it's also been turned into a little bit of a guest suite. It has a bed, a storage closet, a counter with a sink, and a little mini fridge. No plumbing facilities to speak of, so there's a porta potty. This doesn't get used often, but if somebody comes to town and needs a place to stay, it's a nice little getaway. So the problem is the well pump and the capacitor start are all down underneath the floor there. So in order to get to them, I have to do some rearranging in here. That whole cabinet has to be moved over here, and then we've got to start peeling this laminate floor back one strip at a time until we're probably about 4 feet into the room to where we can get down into the hole. So that's what our project is this morning, but not yet. There's another well on our property, and it's down in that building right there. And that's a community well shared by my two neighbors. And I can go ahead and tap into it for some water temporarily. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to run a hose down there and bring it up to the house so I can get water up close to the house. And depending upon how long our outage is going to be, I may go ahead and backfeed into our plumbing system here and supply water to our house. So let's get a hose run first. Thanks to a squirrel, we already had a hole leading into the pump house. So I ran the hose in through there and hooked it up to the little faucet there. We'll go ahead and turn the water on now, and I've got it plugged at the other end. Hopefully there won't be any leaks. Water's turned on, so far no leak here. Let me check my other hose connections. Hose comes out of there and runs right up there. I do have just a little bit of a leak right there. I'm going to try inserting a new gasket and see if I can fix that one. No leak at this one. Right now I've just got that little shutoff valve right there. No water leak in there. Well, maybe just a very small one. So if this is an extended outage, I will backfeed into the outside faucet here, which will feed the house. We'll see if we need to do that. But for now, we have water nearby. But let me go fix the gasket on that one. So here's where we're at. The yellow line there is coming up from the pump house down there. This gray line here leads to the faucet on the house. So if I need to tap in, I need to make a piece that'll connect two male ends together, which will mean a trip to the hardware store. Let's get to work inside the pump house now. Been working in the pump house for about 30 minutes and getting things squared away. Brought a few things out, refrigerator. There's a little fake fireplace in there. There's a rug. Everything else I think I pretty much moved out of the way over there. So there's the pressure tank. We replaced that here in the last, probably year and a half, 2 years. Usually that big white trim piece there, I take that off and it goes back behind that thing. I'm trying to avoid moving it that far. But that means I have to remove this white trim piece over here, which I was kind of planning on doing anyway. Unfortunately, it goes up just behind the bed a little bit. So I think I can reach the screws, but that may be tricky. But we need to get that piece out before we start pulling the floor up. And then there's a trick on this first piece, and offhand I don't remember what it is to get it out. So I'm going to have to dink around until I figure it out. But once I get the first piece out, the rest comes easy. I just have to stack them in such a way to where I know how they go back together. But that's not such a big deal. So let me show you when I get a little further along. I finally got that trim piece out, but let me tell you, it was a lot of work. Let me show you why. What I had forgotten is that I had put this trim piece up against the other trim piece and used dowels to hold it in perfect alignment. And so I'm trying to separate this end
and it wasn't wanting to come apart. I finally ended up breaking it there, luckily on the back side. No harm, no foul. And once I figured that out, then I was able to get something sharp down in there and basically cut that one off. I used a little putty knife is what I used. So when we put it back together, we need to be smarter about this. First of all, this piece is way too long. I mean, when I first did it, I did it so I wouldn't have too many seams, because seams are ugly. I didn't give enough thought to having to take it apart to get stuff out of to get the floor rolled back, to get at the pump and stuff. So what I need to do is I need to cut this piece down to whatever the length is going to be that I have to roll the floor back. So that'll be a future Procrastination Garage project. And at the same time, I should be doing this one over here as well. Because again, if I don't have to move this big cabinet out of the way and don't have to move the bed and all this other stuff, the less stuff I have to move, the better. And not that I get in here often, but this is the 4th time since I finished the pump house that I've had to get back in here. I've replaced that pressure tank twice, and then the capacitor start for the pump went out once. And now this time it's either the capacitor start or the pump, probably the pump. So, you know, I do have to get in here every few years. So we should make it a little more user-friendly. And I thought I had, really, but what I didn't factor in was all the furniture I was going to have in here and how hard it was going to be to move it and everything. So while I did think ahead, I didn't think far enough ahead. All right, I think I figured out how to get this piece out. See, it tucks underneath that the molding here, and then also that threshold right there. And I think what I have to do is I think I have to start down here and move all these pieces down. Separate this one just enough to get it up. Separate this one enough to get it up. And then that one there I think has to slide all the way down here before I can remove it. So let's try that. Why didn't you tell me it was doing that? Well, that's not helping. I was thinking I should have taken these two pieces out. Thinking there's got to be a better way. Is this not the way I did it before? I don't know. Almost there. Inch and a half. The problem is I'm really tight right here. So I think when I put this board back in, I'm going to trim like 1/8 of an inch off of it. That should work. These floors contract, and they expand and contract. And summertime is probably expanded about as much as it's going to expand. All right. There it is. Yay! Here's a status update for you. So we're making progress. So you can see the outline of the round piece of plywood that covers the hole. And it looks like we're just barely going to make it. So we just got to keep pulling boards back. It's been kind of tough getting them out from underneath that trim piece there. But I've been doing it. That one there is kind of stuck. I'm hoping to take the next row up and then hopefully get a longer piece and get it out. We'll see. All right, we cleared it. Next thing, let's get the pressure tank out and then cut up this piece of plastic. Plastic is just kind of a vapor barrier because I want to make sure that the laminate flooring didn't soak up moisture. The concrete underneath it and everything is so old that there's probably no moisture. I probably never needed to do that, but I did, and it's there, and so whatever. Anyway, like I said, let's get the tank out and get the plastic up and then get that piece of plywood cover up. That thing's got more water in it than I thought. Well, it doesn't really. All right, let's do this. Oh, you know what? It's screwed down. All right, we're in. I think I lost some video footage. I think maybe I turned the camera off, forgot to turn it back on, of me fighting my way in. The problem is that there was some water damage over there from the last time the pressure tank started leaking. And so the OSB got kind of nasty around the screws, and so I couldn't find some of the screws. And anyway, it was a lot of work, but I finally got it all taken care of. Got the plywood pieces out. There they are, sitting right there. So now it's time to troubleshoot. And the first thing, that little gray box there, that's got the capacitor start. So we'll need to check that. I forgot too that there's a pressure switch down there. The pressure switch could be bad. And then if either one of those two or if both of those are working, then that means the pump is a problem. And I've been debating whether I want to do the pump or just call somebody and let them do it. Honestly, it'd just be easier to call somebody and let them do it. But let's do the basic troubleshooting. And well, I mean, I guess I probably should have started out at the power pole and make sure that I had power through the circuit breaker out there. That would really suck if the circuit breaker had gone bad and I did all this work. But I know that's not the problem. I know I have power to here. So let's figure out where I don't have power. I've got the capacitor removed. Looking at the capacitor itself, I'm not seeing any problems. Usually when they go bad, they swell up, but it's hard to tell sometimes. What I do see is there's a lot of corrosion on that fitting right there. That's not good. The other connections, I think, are not too bad a shape. We'll check them more carefully. And then down there's a pressure switch. Wiring looks pretty good from here. So what I'm going to do is the power comes in from the box. It comes into the pressure switch first. So there's two legs. Both legs should have 120 volts on them, 240 total. So I'm going to go ahead and put my meter down there and see if I have power to the pressure switch. That's step number one. I've done some testing. I have both those legs down there coming in and going out of that pressure switch have 120 volts. So that's 240 volts. And then coming into this box here, which where the capacitor sits, the two terminals on the left there, L1 and L2, those both have 120 on each leg. And then from there they do their capacitor magic, and I don't really know how to test that. So at this point I'm going to go buy a new capacitor and just hope for the best. Am I maybe just throwing good money after bad because we didn't test it properly? Like I said, I don't really know how to test it. Capacitors are dangerous. The thing could have some voltage in it that could knock you on your butt, maybe kill you. So, but if you look there, you see all that corrosion right there around the edge? That's not good. That corrosion there is not good. So I think it's time to replace this anyway. And if we end up with a new well pump, we're going to get a new pressure switch. All the parts and pieces should be new, so we don't have to go in here again. So I'm going to head to the hardware store and buy this. I'm also going to buy the parts I need to plumb it to where we can backfeed the water system from the neighbor's well if need be. So let's head to the store. Back from the hardware store with a new control box. This control box includes the capacitor, and they don't sell capacitors by themselves, which is fine because there's not much else to it. But this is $109 plus tax. This is not cheap. Anyway, this is pretty much a direct replacement. Now, if I'm really lucky, it's identical, and I won't even have to mess with the outer part. I can just put the capacitor part in. Let's open it up and take a look. So do me a favor, study that diagram and agree with me that everything matches up, because they're a little bit different on the inside. But if you look here, the left lead is black main. The next one over is yellow motor leads, then the R start, and then L1 and L2, or L2 and L1, depending upon the order. And then if you look at the new one, coming from the right, L1, L2, you got the R start, motor leads, and the B main. So to me it looks like they match up. And they physically match up every other dimension. I mean, as far as it plugging in, everything's identical. So it looks to me like I can just plug this in and it'll work. Now it'd really suck if something was wired different, because I'd hate to toast a brand new one. But I think we're safe to just plug it in. Listen carefully. Can you hear it? It's running. So, funny story. I put the new capacitor in, and the circuit breaker is outside on a pole, and I went out there and flipped it on and was listening to see if I'd be able to hear it. And right away I started hearing something, and it was really loud. And I'm like, oh crap, that's water, because the pressure tank wasn't installed, so that fitting there, 1 inch fitting, 3/4 inch, was just pumping water out. You can see you got a little bit of standing water down there in the bottom. So I quickly shut it off and came and installed the pressure tank. And so it's turned back on. It just, pump just turned off. And that should mean we have water pressure again. I'll go in and check it. We're not in any hurry to put this all back together, because I'm a firm believer that when you have something like this, you let it sit for a week or 2 or a month. Well, it's Procrastination Garage. It might be 3 months, just to make sure. And then when you do put it back together, I guarantee you a day later you'll have to tear it apart again. But anyway, so for now we're just going to leave it. We will move all the stuff that's outside. We'll probably bring all that inside and stack it in here a little more neatly. But that's it. So I think we're up and running. I did buy stuff to make a fitting. Let me show you. There's what I bought right there. Piece of 3/4 inch pipe. Fittings for each end. Glue fittings with pipe thread, and then these little doodads here, which one end fits a hose and the other end fits a 3/4 inch.
So I will put this together and show you what, well, I'm just going to piece it together, but I'll glue it together later. Anyway, let me show you what it does. So there's what the piece would look like installed. The fitting, fitting, pipe, fitting, fitting. Now, taking it a step further, I have 2 filters. And I use this when I fill up the hot tub using irrigation water. That first filter there will catch the big stuff, and then the second one there's an RV filter that'll get out the smaller stuff. And the reason I've got those is in talking to the neighbor, he said that the pump's been picking up little chunks of gravel and putting it through the line. I know all about that. My pump's been doing that for years, but I've got a whole house filter that stops them. If I'm backfeeding the system, this would bypass that filter. It would be actually sending it through there backwards. So it wouldn't stop them. So I've got another filter set up right here to do that. Now, thing is, don't need it because we're back up and running. That's a good thing. So let me show you one more thing. There is one more piece of that puzzle of using that line connecting up to the other well, is I need a shutoff switch or shutoff valve right here to prevent water from going back down into the well. And as it turns out, there is one here. Now, what I don't know, I did turn it just a little bit, and it did turn. I don't know if it would seal really good. If and when I need the new pump, I'm going to want to put a new valve in here. I'd like to go with a PVC ball valve or something that would last longer and probably never jam up or anything. So, but anyway, that would have worked. But as it turns out, for now, we don't need it, and we are happy. At least I'm happy. I hope you guys are happy for me. Okay, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe, and please tell all your friends. Thank you. It's Monday morning, just before 10 a.m., and we're headed over to rental number 2. So last week, around Wednesday or so, I got a text message from the tenant saying that the dishwasher seemed to be malfunctioning. Acted like it wasn't filling up all the way with water, and dishes weren't getting clean. So I think I put it on YouTube, and I replaced that dishwasher not quite 2 years ago. It was like December 24th, I think, of 22. So hopefully it's not the dishwasher, because you can call somebody out to repair them, but by the time you do that, you've spent about as much as just buying a new one. So we'll just do an R&R on it if it comes to that. But what we're going to check this morning is water flow, check the valve, and check the hose that lead into the dishwasher. And also we'll check the screen where it goes into the dishwasher. Hopefully we'll find something there. That'll be quick, easy fix. Otherwise it'll be more involved. So you guys missed out on a cabin trip. I went down on Thursday, came back on Saturday. Honestly, there wasn't a whole lot worth videoing, so I didn't do any videoing. And that's really about all that's been going on. So let's get on with this project. So the reason I made a trip to the cabin is because I've got a bit of a property line dispute. I say dispute. It's all very amicable. But I've got a new neighbor down there, and he just bought 2.5 acres that's up against my property. And I discovered last time I was down there that he was clearing some trees and stuff that I was pretty sure was on my property. And so I left him a note, and he got in touch, and so he said, well, let's get together and walk the property line and figure out where it is. I said, yeah, let's do that. So he hit me up last week and said, hey, when can we do that? So I said, all right, I'll come on down. So we spent Friday walking around the property trying to make some determinations, and at the end of the day, I don't think we're any closer to resolving it than we were when we started. I know where 3 of my corner stakes are. The one I don't know is the one that he and I share, and I need to know where that one is so we can draw a line up to the other one so we can figure out where the property boundary actually is. He thinks it's one place, I think it's another, but honestly neither one of us know for sure. So I done some measuring using an online map thing that the county provided, and I came up with about 400 feet from corner to corner, but it's not exact. We measured off 400 feet and we came up near a fence post, but it's not the fence post I thought, and it was actually beyond the fence post, so I don't know. So what I need to do is go down there, go up to the other end of the property where it's the same distance, and I need to make a good measurement from corner to corner there. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a bunch of tree clearing because there is not a straight line between the two at this point. So that's a future project. That might be on Procrastination Garage. You might see that. But right now, we've got rental problems. All right, we made it to the offending location. So it's a Whirlpool dishwasher. If we have to replace it, let's not buy another Whirlpool. All right, first thing, we're going to look underneath the sink.
and check the water line to see if there's any kinks, and then we'll probably end up pulling the dishwasher out, disconnecting the water line, and putting it into a bucket or something, turning the water back on and see what the flow's like. So let me get to it. That stainless line that leads off to the right there, that goes to the dishwasher. So we follow it back around. Can you see it goes to a valve there? And then the other line coming out of there goes up to the sink. And I've already checked the water pressure at the sink and it's good. So odds are there's nothing wrong with this line. So we'll need to disconnect it, or at least there's no problem with the valve. There may be some with the line. So we need to disconnect the dishwasher and check there. So in order to pull the dishwasher out, we've got a couple of screws, one there and one over there. So let me get that done. I've got the dishwasher pulled out, and you guys can see the line back in there. It doesn't look like it's been kinked at all, so I don't think that's a problem. So what I will need to do is disconnect it from underneath the dishwasher. I've turned the valve off under the sink. I've also found the valve out in the garage to make sure I can isolate the whole house if I have a problem with this valve. Both of them work. Unfortunately, when I came over, I left my bucket and some towels sitting right on the outside table. And I'm going to blame the dog, because the last minute the dog wanted to go out, and then she didn't want to go out, and all the rigmarole, I just walked off and left them. So now we got to drive home and get them. Luckily, it's only 10 minutes home. Just got home. See, there it is. Bucket and towels, just like I said. I'm going to grab a roll of paper towels too. I thought I had one in the truck, but I didn't find it, so we should have one. I didn't show it, but I tested the water flow at this end right here, and it flows strong. That's not the problem. Where this connects, there's a little screen. I pulled that out, and there's nothing in it. It's clear. So the problem is somewhere inside the dishwasher. So at this point, and looking at this dishwasher, this was not an expensive dishwasher. I thought I spent more money on this dishwasher than I did, I think. So anyway, we're going to head off and buy another one. Hopefully my folks here renting aren't coming home anytime soon, and if they do, that they'll understand that I'm en route. I'm going to send them a text, let them know I'm going shopping right now. So there you go. All right, we're at Lowe's, and I just bought a dishwasher. Right there. Have I ever told you how much I hate big box stores? Yeah, well, I hate Home Depot today. So there you go. So before heading back over to the rental, I needed to come by the house and pick up a multimeter. And so now we're back to the truck getting ready to go. Now the question is, will the truck start? Let's try and see. Okay, fired right up. You wonder why I say that, right? Well, the reason is because I made a brief stop at Hobby Lobby looking for Hot Wheels and stuff. And when I came out, the starter would not engage. 3 times it wouldn't engage before it finally did. So looked like we got a new Procrastination Garage project coming up. Hopefully not right away. We'll let it ride for a little bit. So I suspect it may be the starter is failing on this truck. And I mean, we're only at 80,000 miles, but it's a 2016, and this was a lease return vehicle out of Canada. And when I bought it, it only had something like 16,000 miles on it. But I've often wondered how many hours it has on it. I wonder if this was an oil rig, reusing oil fields or something. If maybe it had a lot of idle time on it. I don't know. So, you know, I don't know what shape all the components on this truck are. I just know that it didn't have that many miles on it. And yes, I'm pretty sure this truck records hours, and I could probably go in and look. But then I don't know what the hours should be on it. I guess I could maybe kind of sort of figure it out, but do I care that much? I mean, it's kind of a done deal at this point. We just fix it as it breaks. So we'll just keep an eye on it. You know, once in a great while, you'll have something happen with a vehicle that happens once and then never happens again, or doesn't happen for years again. So until it starts doing a little more routinely and or leaves me stranded, we're just not going to lose any sleep over it. So I said the starter wouldn't engage. Exactly what was it doing? It sounded like the starter motor maybe was spinning, but maybe the Bendix wasn't kicking the starter gear out to engage the flywheel. Like I said, it happened 3 times, and then the 4th time it caught. Okay, I haven't been doing the best documenting. So this is a new dishwasher going in. Old one was taken out, so I've rewired the electrical. It's all in and done properly. And then I just hooked up the water line. So I need to tip the thing back up correctly, and then I need to do the drain line. And also these front legs, I screwed them all the way in. When I set the thing upright, I'll make sure it's sitting level. The back ones are sitting right about there, and I think that's probably about where we'll leave them. So let's get the thing upright. After tipping the dishwasher back up, I'm playing around with the drain there, and a bunch of water drains out on the floor. Best I can tell, this dishwasher has never been used. Everything looks brand new. Do they test it before they send it out? I find that hard to believe, but hopefully that's all it is. Anyway, so this line here goes up to the underside of the sink. In fact, it goes to that thing right there. And then this end here hooks in down there using one of 2 clamps. And looking at the old dishwasher, oh, by the way, this is another Whirlpool. I said I didn't want another Whirlpool, but it was the best dishwasher they had. And this time I spent $55 and got a 3-year bumper-to-bumper warranty on it. So hopefully it'll last at least 3 years now. Or maybe hopefully it won't and breaks at 2 years and 11 months or something. Anyway, so this was the one I used. So the nice thing is that putting the dishwasher back together, identical. All the fittings are the same, these pieces are the same, so it just plug and play. All right, done deal, all installed. Does it look like a new dishwasher? We'll see. Power's turned back on, water's hooked up underneath, drain's hooked up under the sink, water's turned back on. I know I didn't show you all that stuff. If you really want me to, I could next time, but it's not that big a deal. Anyway, I got a report that there's a broken pipe out in the backyard for the irrigation system. Not going to fix it today, but let's see if we can figure out where it is and come back tomorrow and fix it. He said the water was leaking out by the tree. Out by the tree, and there's a bunch of water. Now, this irrigation system is on a timer, so it's shut off right now, but that looks like that's water that's flowing. There's one line out here that runs that way that we were never able to find. That could be it. May have finally broke something, froze. It's never been drained because I don't know where it is. So my temporary fix is to just shut the irrigation system off, and we'll leave it off for maybe the rest of the week, because my suspicion is that area is not going to dry up. If it's one of the it'd be this line here. There's a line that runs right along that piece of grass edging there, and so it would be that line there. And I just ran it, put a lot of water over in that area, but my guess is that that area will stay wet because there's another line hidden under here somewhere that I don't know where it is. And I think that what will happen is that this will stay wet, and then I'll come out and I'll dig until I find a line out there, and then we'll cap it or do something with it. But you know what, we know for sure, where if it's something that's with the irrigation that's currently running, they just shut everything off. So like I said, shut off, let it be for a few days, because we're at the end of the watering season. Grass will be fine if it doesn't get watered the rest of the week. So that's it. Headed home. It's Thursday morning. What do you think we're going to do? That's right. Dog and I and a couple friends going to go play in the mountains today. Going to go up around Bumping Lake and explore some roads. Roads that I didn't get to on my last trip up there. So let's go.
Sweet as candy, I know you wanna be with her, but Josie got a reputation to scratch behind that fur. She's got her little game perfected, she'll let you think you have control, and then one day when you least expect it, she'll steal away your soul. It's so easy when you think you're winning, but she's got herself another plan. You think you're being clever like a modern man, but Josie has the upper hand. I know you're not to blame, and there's no shame in falling for her siren. But while you're still a man, you better get out while you can. It's so easy when you think you're winning, but she's got herself another plan. You may think you're being clever like a modern man, but Josie has the upper hand. It's so easy when you think you're winning, but she's got herself another plan. You may think you're being clever like some kind of modern man, but Josie has the upper hand. You may think you're being clever like a modern man, but Josie has the upper hand.
All right, that's the end of this episode of Procrastination Garage. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. So my apologies for it turning into a two-part adventure. That wasn't my goal, but as I was editing it, it was getting really long, and I thought, you know what, better just break this up into two parts. So the next video will conclude the adventure up at Bumping Lake. Remember, the number one goal of Procrastination Garage is to keep me motivated, keep me working down in the shop, out in the yard, over at the rental, or playing up in the hills. Down in the comments, please tell me about the things you're working on or procrastinating about. Enjoy hearing about that too. Remember, my name is Matt. This is Procrastination Garage, and hope to see you back next week or real close to it. Thanks.